I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight. As we go to air, we learn of yet more jailhouse letters from stepmommy, this time claiming she, quote, found Zahra dead.
Yeah, my daughter is missing.
A new twist for a missing North Carolina girl.
Breaking news in the search for Zahra Baker. What happened to her? Found a bone.
Believed to be Zahra's.
Recovered a bone.
My daughter missing? Yes.
What do you think happened to Zahra? I don't know.
Last scene.
Sleeping in her bedroom.
Her bed.
Many things are possible at this time.
Another twist in a bizarre and troubling murder investigation.
I sure miss my warm waterbed.
The letters are fascinating.
There are so many missing kids, but Zahra isn't missing.
They'll never be used against her.
The cops know where she is and what he has done.
Something very terrible happened to a little girl.
Doesn't look good.
Some girls want to be princesses when they grow up. I want to be a vampire. We really didn't kill her, but what he did after the fact is kind of horrifying. Makes me scared of him. So I probably am going to go ahead and file. I have lost my whole life anyway. I have been filtered a little of what the media is saying about me, from drug problems to witchcraft. I've never had a drug problem, and people think paganism is devil worshipping. Own world is so full of hypocrites.
Straight out to Natisha Lance, standing by in Hudson, North Carolina at the search site. Natisha, number one, the search is now entering into day 2 in the hopes of finding another one of Zahra's bones, and more jailhouse letters have now surfaced. What have we learned?
Well, Nancy, I spoke to a cousin of Elisa Baker just before we went to air, and she says family members have received at least 4 letters from Elisa Baker behind bars. Now, in this letter, she says that she is worried about Zahra. She also says that they did not kill Zahra, and she continues to say that she is behind bars because of Adam Baker. But in another letter that was written to another family member, Elisa Baker allegedly says that she found Zahra Baker dead, and that Zahra had been sick for quite some time.
Really, you know what? That's exactly what I do, Dr. Bethany Marshall. When I find somebody's been sick and passed away, I immediately throw their prosthetic limbs to the side of the road and discard their body. I put it right in the wood chipper, and it's all said and done. That doesn't make sense.
Well, given that this mother is so shallow, so self-absorbed, so self-referential in all of these letters, I would take everything she says as a lie and as minimizing and obfuscating what really happened. When she said that Zahra was sick for a period of time, I hear she made Zahra sick for a period of time.
You heard? We are taking your calls live back out to Natisha Lance, standing there at the search. Natisha, this is day 2 after finding the bone believed to be Zahra's. And this really confirms all of our educated speculations that this is where they found the bone, although they're not telling us that. Because if they found the one bone somewhere else, they would be there searching, but they're here. What about the pond draining?
They have completed that pond draining at this point. They said that they didn't find anything of evidentiary value in the pond, but they were back here all day today, 30 to 40 searchers doing line searches, shoulder to shoulder, looking for any type of evidence that could continue to lead them to what happened to Zahra Baker. They said that it's a pretty torrential area that they are searching through. They have to clear away lots of brush in this area. You can see on video that they are raking, putting things together through different piles of brush. They don't know how long they will be back at this search area, but they are committed to being here as long as it takes, Nancy.
Now, are you telling me, Natisha Lance, that 40 people, shoulder to shoulder, walked through that brush?
Well, Nancy, they're using a grid search through a computerized system, and the grid tells them which areas they have searched, which areas they need to search. It's a pretty large area. This stretch of road is about 2 to 3 miles, and there's wooded area, heavy wooded area on both sides of that street. So that's how they are locating the different areas that they need to search and continuing to progress with their search based on that.
To Dr. Marty McCary, physician, professor of public health, Johns Hopkins, joining us tonight out of Chicago. Dr. Marty, if you looked at, for instance, a dog bone, wouldn't you know immediately that it's not a human bone?
you would know immediately unless it were a small fragment. But bones are very unique, and a child's bone is unique because the growth plate hasn't formed, and there are certain characteristics where a lot of it's cartilage, and you can tell it's the bone of a child. You know, it's got rings, so you can look at it like a tree and tell what the age is.
To Paul Penzone, former Sergeant Phoenix PD child advocate, Paul Penzone, this is what the circumstances are telling me. For those of you just joining us, more jailhouse letters surfacing tonight, actually in the last hour, in which stepmommy writes that she found Zahra dead. She blames her being behind bars on something Adam Baker did, Zahra's father. And in yet another jailhouse letter, she says that Zahra had been sick for a really long time, suggesting the child died of natural causes. Then I guess they just hid the body. Paul Penzone, what this is all saying to me is this is where they found the bone. It is a human bone. It is a child's bone. And if all of that is true, it's got to be Zahra's bone. Because a doctor would be able to tell immediately if this were not a human bone.
Absolutely. And what they're talking about when they say the grid search and the line search, they literally should take weeks to search that area foot by foot. A grid search is everything broken into blocks. A line search is everyone shoulder to shoulder going through that area to ensure that they do not overlook any detail.
Out to the lines, Rhonda in Alabama. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, Nancy. I'm finally glad I got to talk to you. And by the way, John David looks just like you. My question is, in the state of Alabama, I'm sure these people are on disability, food stamps, and Social Security on this little child. Why was a social worker sent out to the home at least once every couple of months or so to check on the conditions and on the child? I think North Carolina's doing a lot of slacking in their system, Nancy.
What about it, Mark Class? Mark Class joining us, president and founder of Class Kids Foundation. If they were getting government aid, shouldn't there be people checking on them? And what do you make of the search in this area now entering day 2, along with stepmommy's news story that Zahra had been sick and she found Zahra dead?
Sure. Well, first of all, they don't need to be getting any kind of government assistance for a social worker to go to the home. There were apparently plenty of reports from neighbors and friends that this little girl was being abused. That alone is justification enough to send social workers to the home. As far as the grid search goes, I agree with everybody, and I would suggest that one of the ways that they're using scientific equipment to do this is that each one of the searchers has an individual GPS tracking device on it that they use and superimpose over a map so they can tell exactly and specifically where they have been.
Okay, regarding the letters that Natisha Lance is talking about, that she said that she heard through the family members about what is in these letters, it would sure help if Natisha Lance had a copy of those letters in her hand before she starts reporting something that she may not have seen at all. I mean, we really need to have something to look at and say, here's a copy of the letter that Elisa wrote a family member, of which in the last letter nobody was talking to her, and have that letter in your hand, because all we have right now is this person said this to a reporter and now it's on Nancy Grace. At least with the other letters, even though they're up for sale, we can look at them. Oh, well then maybe they're selling those letters. Oh, that's a thought too.